And there's recording in progress. All right, hello, I'm here with Mary Hirsh, and this is an oral interview for a history class dealing with entrepreneurship in America since the 1900s. Ms. Hirsch works within the healthcare industry in some form or fashion, or so I remember from the last time we met. I've asked Ms. Hirsch if she would be so kind to answer some questions and about her company and her work, which she has kindly agreed to answer my 15 questions. Yes, 15 of them. Wonderful. All right. So we'll start off with the easy one. What company are you a part of and what sort of position do you hold?
I work for a company called Majestic Care based out of Indianapolis, Indiana, Westfield, just a little north of Indy. And I'm the VP of Case Management and Managed Care Reimbursement. We're a nursing home company.
All right. So what inspired you to get into this working field?
That's a great question. Kind of my mom, actually. When I was growing up, my mom worked in a kitchen. She ran a kitchen in a nursing home for over 25 years. And as a kid, I remember going there with her on holidays and days off school and stuff like that to kind of help her get through her day and so she could come home early on holidays. Then when I was an adult, I had an opportunity to get into the skilled nursing business, doing business development. And I've been working in this industry since about 20 years.
That's good. What sort of educational background do you have, as well as the experiences that you have, which have become been useful in your position and work?
I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. I have a master's degree in social work. I have a certification as a certified case manager and a certification as a certified professional coach.
Okay.
These have helped me a lot throughout my career. Specifically, the case management certification really gave me a lot of background and information about how the insurance industry works and just really a lot of the laws and regulations and how to process different things.
Yeah, insurance companies always such fun things to work with. What sort of difficulties have you experienced while doing this sort of work?
Lots of different challenges on different fronts, I guess. There are challenges with contracting with insurance companies, challenges with the speed of how things work, challenges with communications with, we work with multiple different entities. So you're transitioning a patient from a hospital or an emergency room or their doctor's office or home to a skilled nursing facility, and there's a managed care payer. There's a lot of red tape. So lots of interdepartmental challenges because we have our hands kind of in everything from admissions to case management to billing to provision of services. We have to make sure that the services that the patients are getting are what they're actually contractually required to be getting. Lots of compliance stuff.
Oh, yeah, no. Insurance companies are always so much fun to work with. Remember that in my time on the ambulance. Um, so how much free time do you have doing this sort of work? He's from hard trying to get this meeting together.
Um, so actually, I just started this job. I'm almost 2 months in only. So I really am working a lot. And right now, I don't have a lot of free time. I definitely carve out for myself. I don't work over Shabbat. So Friday night to Saturday night, I don't work. I will work on Sunday. But aside from that, I really am working some very long days, typically 10 hours plus. And, with the scheduling today, I was delayed on some flights last night. I walked in my front door at 10 minutes to 3 this morning, got
Yeah.
a little less than 4 hours sleep. So, then back at it at 7 a.m. So it's busy.
Oh, yeah, no, I fully get, especially the flights and the jet lag, and oh, I hate flying anymore.
Yeah.
Um, so, um, let's see. Hate when thing moves on me. All right, do you think that your children will get involved in this sort of work, or do they seem to have any sort of interest in it?
They don't have interest in this type of work. My older son has a company that works with public safety communications. He tests frequencies to make sure that the public safety communication systems work. And my younger son works for his father's family business, and they build computer controls for spot welding machines. So my kids went both a little more like the engineering kind of route rather than the healthcare kind of route.
There's always work in both fields.
Thank God.
Yeah. Um, so how does your family feel about your work and the time it takes you away from them, if it does?
That's a good question. Actually, like I said, I'm settling into a new job. And I think that, realistically, you come into something like this knowing that it's going to be long days while you're wrapping your hands around this big thing. But definitely, I have a son that lives here with me, and he definitely said, I remember years ago when you had this, really busy schedule and whatever. And, I think he was kind of concerned about the amount of hours, but it's I think we all know that it's temporary.
Well, that's actually good. I know that Samantha, she liked the fact when I was working on the ambulance on 24s because when I get off shift, that was when it was time to ask Dad to go do things and all that. Because Dad was like, "Uh-huh, sure, it's okay, go ahead." Then Dad's like, "Where's Samantha? Oh, she's over at so and so's house. What's she doing there?" Well, she said you said it was okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So is there anything that you regret about going into this sort of work?
No, there's no regrets that I have about going into this line of work. But I will tell you that if I knew today, or if I knew when I was younger what I know today, I would have taken, I probably would have taken a nursing route rather than the route that I took. Not that I think that I would have necessarily been like floor nurse, whatever, but more on the administrative side, having that background would be helpful.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with healthcare, you get the side that you know a bit about the medicine and all that, especially coming straight off with the experience from working on it. And I can see this. This is. So what are your financial goals and work goals?
Well, my financial goals, I guess, are to get to a place that I could actually retire before I die. Um, and my work goals, short term, I guess I would say, would be getting my arms wrapped around this job, settling into the new role, kind of still figuring things out. But, I'm building a case management team in the organization, and I am taking over contracting and credentialing. And I'm really looking forward to my goals are to capture, collect, and keep every managed care dollar that our organization is entitled to, not a dollar more, not a dollar less. My long term goals, like CEO,
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, I'm going to be forever working in school from things are going. Um, was there ever a situation that made you wonder about going into this sort of work?
many, many, many. Um, Gosh, I don't even know where to start with that. Um, it's a very, very interesting industry in that buildings buy and sell all the time, regulations change all the time. So you're always behind the eight ball. It's an industry that it's hard to be proactive. So once one piece of an industry becomes reactive, it kind of snowball affects everyone. So that's something that is a challenge, and that I say, why can't I work in a normal industry? Healthcare is just not a normal industry. So there are many, many times for many, many reasons. People saying, you have a patient that went to the hospital and they're a long-term care patient in a skilled nursing facility bed that is certified as a Medicaid bed, but it's not certified as a Medicare bed. They've been living there for 10 years. They go out to the hospital, they come back, and we say, welcome home, but you can't go to your room because that's a Medicaid bed. And now you went out to the hospital and we're going to bill Medicare. And we put them over here and they don't want it. And they scream and holler and they want to go back to their room. And then people say things like, well, can't we just leave them there and give them the therapy and give them the skilled services there? No, we can't. We can't. No.
Yeah, that insurance is all that's comes back to that whole insurance issue. And it does create quite a few different issues. And I do remember a couple of those cases myself, dropping off and actually getting into it with the nursing home staff about patients is like, they've been together for all their life, and now you're telling me that you want to separate them, and this is all she's talked about on her way back here is being with him. Yeah, it was harsh.
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay, if you could do it all over again, would you make the same choices in going into this sort of work? And if not, what would you have done?
It's interesting. I don't know if I would have made the same choices to go into this work. Another another industry that really interests me and interested me when I was a little bit younger is law. And I actually took the pre-LSAT test and did fairly well at it. But by the time I decided that that might be something I would could do, it really financially didn't make sense. because it's so expensive and I was a single mom and, all of those things. But that's another career path that I think that I would have enjoyed and been very successful at.
Yeah, you and Jan should actually decide to go look at that together because that's her true love and desire is actually going into that.
Well, there you go.
There you go. um, okay, this kind of relates with to question number 7, but um, it's looking sort of at the short run instead of the whole thing. Where do you see yourself in the next 5, 10 years?
I can see myself in the role that I am in, because there's tremendous room for growth and expansion in this role within this company because we have nursing homes, we have assisted living, we have a hospice company, we have a home health company. We just have all of these things that don't have case management services. So it's something that I can really expand into the other lines of business in this organization. So that's exciting. And that's something that I could see doing. I also created an educational program for admissions director in the skilled nursing environment. So that's something that I'm looking at potentially selling.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. What advice do you have for anyone who wants to get into this sort of work?
If you want to get into the nursing home industry, regardless of what position you decide that you want to take, you have to come into it from a space of love, from a space of the honor it is to work with people and their families at the end of their life. Um, from you, you know, it can't be for the money, that. It can't be for the money that you're going into this. And remember that, remember that when everything's going crazy and just remember why you're there. Put your head down, work hard, be flexible. Don't say it's not my job. Don't say that's above my pay grade. Ask, how can I help get you to the person who can solve that problem?
Yeah, nope, I fully I could fully relate to all these years. Um, okay, so this one is kind of like question number 4, but a little bit different. What sort of sacrifices have you had to make while doing this job?
So I'll specifically talk about the time frame when both of my kids were in high school and I had this kind of same job, but for a smaller organization. We had 9 buildings. Now I have 45 buildings. So, but it was my first rodeo doing this job. And I also was in master school at the same time. So I would work 10, 12, 16-hour days. And then I'd come home and have to do homework and whatever. Something that I really regret, I guess, or was so challenging is that I remember my kids used to say, we knew that whatever time we'd call, they'd talk to me and say, what time are you coming home? And I'd say 6 o'clock or whatever it was. And they'd say, we knew that we always should add an hour, and that's when you would come home.
Yep, yep. I definitely, I remember many times. It's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to get off at, no, never mind. 3, 4 hours down the line after a couple more calls came in. Yeah, but
So balancing, we have to balance.
definitely. All right. Last question. Is this what you thought that you would do when you grew up? Or are you still growing up and have other things that you want to do when you grow up?
Not a chance is this anything close to what I mean, I thought when I was a kid that I was going to be a psychologist. I actually thought that I was going to be like a therapist. As I grew up and got a degree in psychology and whatever, I really decided that I don't want to listen to other people's problems. So, I just got kind of into a part of the industry where I could still help people, but in a different sort of way.
I can see that. I know that's probably one of the guiding causes that probably drew me into healthcare and then mother. But I, I do know that when I first started, I was all about the policeman because that was that era time TV shows, 70s, everything was always the policeman, the police. And then all of a sudden, high school, I think, is when it's like, nah, messing. This is where I want to be. This is where, I could actually help others. And yeah,
Right. Yep.
no,
It's a good
I'm,
feeling.
yeah, it is. It definitely is. Does bring a lot of baggage with it.
Yes, it does.
So those are all my questions. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
Okay.